This week on Motor Week, Richard Hammond gets to grips with 4 Cadillacs in France. Ian Royle tests Hyundai's new Accent at its launch in Scotland. And an artistic Ken Gibson is one of the first to get behind the wheel of Citroen's Picasso.
If that sword from the Renault ad is anything to go by and size really does matter, then she should cop a load of this. Because we've brought a handful of big Americans to France, obviously, to find out if bigger really is better. So take your pick and prepare to go large. If you've always fancied a little sports car, then we'll try one of these for you, a Chevy Corvette, a really great big sports car. If you always fancy being pampered, well, don't mess around with tiddly little Beamers and the like. Go large and try a Cadillac Seville. For lovers of the four-wheel drive, or trade in your tiddly little Suzuki Jeep for one of these, a Chevy Blazer. And if you want more car than you ever thought you'd get for your money, we'll try out one of these, a Chevy Camaro. The Corvette is in fact the world's best-selling sports car, which must say something good about it, and it's now available over here. Well, not over here, this is France, over there, as in the UK, as opposed to the US, well, you know what I mean. Anyway, I've got cruising to do, so I can't sit around and chat. Got to look good on the streets. Oh my God! This thing's enormous! So, what was that bloke formerly known as Prince going on about when he sang Little Red Corvette? There is nothing little about this car, it's enormous. Even the figures are huge. It's a V8, 5.7 litre, 343 brake horsepower. The only small figure, in fact, is the 0 to 60. This whole thing will dash from 0 to 60 in about 5.2 seconds, which is ridiculous. But it does mean, above all else, I want to be in the movies. It isn't all about brute force though, there is some sophistication at work here. Not only do I have a very elaborate traction control system, which is probably just as well, I've even got a head-up display to tell me on the windscreen my RPM, kilometres an hour, and my oil temperature. It is only available in the UK in left-hand drive, and it's not cheap. Expect to pay between £40,000 and £45,000 for your Corvette, depending upon the specification. There's one market where I can see that big really is best. Corporate fat cats, ever eager to flash a bigger checkbook, company jet and cholesterol count than their competitors. Now, you don't see them praising a car for its compact dimensions, do you? What we want here is big, big and comfy. And the Cadillac Seville is both of those things. If, as I'm chatting away here, I get an oddly sort of glazed look on my face, that's because I'm having my bottom massaged. Well, not exactly. The seat is adapting to my own personal shape as we go along, which means both the seat pad cushion and the one behind me, they move and compress, and it's quite an unnerving sensation. And that really sums this car up. For the corporate fat cat who likes being pampered, you can't get any more pampered than here. They killed an entire field full of cows and spread their skin all over the inside of this thing. Every conceivable thing is electronically adjustable. Seats, steering wheel, the lot. This is a very, very big, comfy car. Prices for the Seville start at a shade under £40,000, but that list of specification goes on and on. It sounds like something from the Generation game. You get a CD auto changer, air conditioning, obviously, even a television and clever gizmos to help you park. And that's not all. Cadillac have another little trick up their sleeve that they hope will interest you. Dark, isn't it? Far too dark for filming, obviously, and too dark for driving as well. Unless you've got some of these. Headlights. Handy things, of course. They do make it an awful lot easier to see and to drive. That is until anything that's in them starts to get a little bit too far away. Then it can all get rather tricky. There's a novel solution. Look! I'm an amorphous white blob, which might not seem very impressive, but it's important because I am an amorphous white blob that you can see. Because this is night vision. And we're going to try it. It was developed by Cadillac together with the company that actually developed it for use in combat, and it really is night vision, the proper thing, infrared and all of that. It's fitted here to a DeVille, which is, I should say, very much a full-size American car, and it is in production in America. This isn't pie in the sky, it's real. There's a camera lodged behind the middle of the grille in front of the radiator at the front of the car. And it picks up, obviously, infrared light from objects in front of us, and it actually projects an image up onto the windscreen in front of me. It's head-up display. The effect is that I can see probably 5 times further than I can see in my own headlamps, which has huge safety implications. Obviously, they're extraordinarily pleased with this. It's in production in America, but I guess we will see it, and they're certainly confident that we will see it in Europe eventually. The surprising thing is that as an optional extra in America on Cadillac, it costs about $2,000, which really isn't a huge amount of money. And that really is an amazing piece of technology. And as I stare at it now, I can see people running across the road that I genuinely cannot see in the lamps. It works. The Americans invented the concept of the off-roader with the original Jeep, but back then in the war it was really rather a puny little thing. It had to be because of the original design criteria that it must be possible for 4 men to carry it in the battlefield. But nowadays, in common with overdrafts and crime figures, off-roaders have got bigger. This, the Chevy Blazer, is one of America's best-selling 4x4s, and we can now get it in the UK in right-hand drive. It's funny, but despite that first original American Jeep being a very genuine, back-to-basics, roughy-tufty off-roader, modern-day American off-roaders are more on-roaders. They're openly suburban vehicles. Some of them are even called suburban. The Chevy Blazer is no exception. It's big and comfy, great for cruising, taking the kids to school and back. Having said that it's comfortable and actually quite highly specified, which it is, don't expect to be necessarily pampered. The standard of fit and finish and the quality of the materials is not perhaps what we're used to from a European manufacturer. The Blazer starts at around £23,000, but 95% of customers in the UK opt for the leather and automatic version, which adds up to around £25,000. While we Brits were squeezing our stiff upper lips into the Healey Sprite, the MG Midget and the Triumph Spitfire, the Yanks were wedging their hamburger butts into cars so capacious and powerful you needed an oil tanker captain's licence to take them off the forecourt. Muscle power was in, and it still is to a degree. This is the Camaro. You can buy one of these in the UK and they start for less than £20,000, which means you get about a yard a car for every quid you spend. I'm off for a burger. Don't expect the big Camaro to exert a vice-like grip on the road, though. It was designed for a country with hundreds of miles of roads, all with less bends than a set square factory. It would be very easy as you drive the Camaro to start criticising it for being not as well put together as, say, an Audi. But you have to keep reminding yourself, 20-something grand, just 20-something grand. There's no money for a lot of car. Okay, I've got to come right out and say it. I just love big old lazy American sports cars. I loved the Dukes of Hazzard, I loved Smokey and the Bandit, and I want their cars. I'd also like to be able to jump a 600-foot ravine in their cars, when in fact they'd break in half if you drop them from more than a foot off the ground, but I probably never will. If there's one thing all these cars have in common, the Corvette, the Camaro, the Seville and the Blazer, it's huge grin potential.
When the letter arrived from Hyundai a few weeks ago inviting us to Scotland for the launch of the new Hyundai Accent, there was a bit of head scratching around the office. The Hyundai Accent, that's a small car. No, it's a medium-sized car. And then sort of whispers started going around the room. Does anyone know what the Hyundai Accent looks like? I mean, be honest, if I said to you, describe the Hyundai Accent, you'd be stuck, wouldn't you? Well, 5 years on from the original launch of the Accent, Hyundai bring us the all-new Accent. Now, as you can see, the resemblance is still there. It's hardly a break from tradition, but this is the new Accent. However, let's not get too far off the point, because what Hyundai buyers are concerned with is not looks, but price, specification and value for money. What Hyundai say you get with the Accent is a C-Class car for the price of a B-Class car. In reality, that means you get something the size of a Ford Focus for the price of a Ford Fiesta. The entry-level 1.3 model will come in at less than £8,000. Something like this 1.5 GLS 5-door will be under £10,000. Now, inside you have a totally new dashboard and seats. Hyundai, I think, have done a reasonable job of making the interior look fairly pleasant. Instead of that mass of grey plastic, they've broken it up with this sort of hi-fi effect centre console, which looks okay. The steering wheel is adjustable, the seating position is very comfortable. In this GLS model, you also get a radio CD, air conditioning, the ubiquitous damped cup holders as well. And Hyundai claim more head and legroom than in either a Golf or an Astra, which, to be honest, seems slightly hard to believe, but they say it, so we have to believe it. Now, it's all very well kitting a car out with all the goodies, but at the end of the day, you want to know how it drives. So how does the Accent actually drive out on the road? What's it like? Well, not bad at all, to be perfectly honest. At cruising speeds on the motorway, it's very quiet and very refined. There's very little wind noise into the cabin. The engineers have certainly done a good job there. The steering position and driving position is very comfortable too. We found that the clutch is very light, but the gear shift perhaps not quite so. It feels very notchy, particularly the shift down from third into second. Now, we're prepared to give Hyundai the benefit of the doubt. The fact that this car is still brand new, it's only done some 700 miles or so, and maybe it just needs some loosening up. Power in the Accent comes from either a 1.3 petrol putting out 84 brake horsepower or a 1.5 petrol putting out 88 brake horsepower. Both will cover about 40 miles to the gallon, and there's the option of a 4-speed automatic transmission. When trouble is unavoidable, standard driver and passenger airbags and seatbelt pretensioners protect occupants. The new car took just 27 months to develop at a cost of $200 million. Hyundai plans to build 350,000 units a year at the Ulsan No. 1 plant in Korea. In the UK, expect Hyundai sales to be around the 12 to 14,000 units a year. Amazingly, in 1998, the Accent sold nearly 15,000 versions. Power steering is standard on all models. ABS is standard on the more expensive models, as well as a safety feature called electronic brake distribution, which varies the force between the front and rear axles depending on the weight of the cargo and the passengers. Now, Hyundai claim it's one of the few cars in its class to have this safety feature. Hyundai say that they've had help from the engineers at Lotus in developing the suspension and ride of the Accent. Although, to be honest, we found after driving on the roads of Scotland the ride to be very wallowy and soft and needed to be a lot firmer. So, although the Accent has changed, it hasn't really altered that much. If you're looking for a decent-sized car, a value-for-money car, but without having to pay the high cost of something like a Golf, a Focus or an Astra, then look towards this Accent. Along with a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty, the Accent really is a great all-round package from those very clever people in Korea.
Still to come after the break, Ken Gibson and the arty little Picasso.
Let me see. Just about right. Absolutely. Just capture that, move that a little bit further. Excellent. That's about it, I think. Perfection. Oh no, it isn't. I'm afraid. Picasso, I am not, but that is. The people carrier phenomenon is moving quickly from the big van-like vehicles to much smaller user-friendly machines like the Renault Scenic and Vauxhall Zafira. Now Citroen intend grabbing themselves a large chunk of the action with Picasso, a 5-seater that's big on comfort and style with bags of space. I wonder what Picasso the painter would have made of Picasso the people carrier. Motoring masterpiece, motoring misfit. So how does a Citroen drive? Not normally a strong point with people carriers, but I'm delighted to say this one there drives very well. Handles just like a car. Its low centre of gravity means it's very good on corners. It is remarkably comfortable. Full marks for driving pleasure. Centrally mounted gear change, which seems a bit unusual at first, but I actually like it. It's very smooth, very easy, close at hand. 3 engine options when it goes on sale in the UK next spring. 2 petrols, a 1.6 and a 1.8, and Citroen's well-proven 2-litre turbo diesel. Both the petrols perform adequately and are pretty quiet. The 1.8 is obviously the choice for livelier performance. Also good on fuel economy, with a combined return of just around 36 mpg. But my choice would definitely be the 2-litre diesel. It's pleasantly refined for a diesel, has good performance, but best of all, you get 51.4 to the gallon, which makes the Picasso even better as a practical family car. Citroen are aiming the Picasso firmly at the small people carrier market that's now taking off in Britain and Europe. They've gone big on comfort for 5 people, plenty of luggage space, and I think they've hit the mark. Citroen have done a great job on the interior. It looks different than the traditional car. It's like a cross between a people carrier and a 4x4. I particularly like the information pod on the top that tells you literally everything you want to know. Dash mounted gear lever here is very good, very easy for driving. All the controls are perfectly to hand. It's also got no fewer than 18 stowage spaces. So what do you think about it, Ken? Yeah, it's not bad, Ken. There's plenty of room in the back for kids especially will be great, but it's good enough for adults as well. You've got lots of nice touches. Tables to keep the kids amused, put the drinks in on here. Very handy as well if there's just 2 of you in the back. Middle seat folds down, nice comfortable armrest, cup holders, little thing to keep your documents in there. This really has been a well thought out car. There's a lot of thought gone into it. Materials have a nice solid quality feel. Very user-friendly indeed. Size, as somebody very shrewdly says, matters a great deal, especially in people carriers. And Citroen have definitely got the hang of this. This is very, very large. In fact, this is the largest boot in the entire range at the moment. Bigger than a Zafira, bigger than the Scenic. So they score heavily on this. In fact, the interior is excellent. It's great on space, comfort, and it has a quality feel about it as well. And it's obviously been well put together. So, motoring masterpiece or motoring misfit? Well, Citroen have definitely produced the most stylish people carrier so far. It's very elegant. I think calling it a masterpiece might be taking it a touch far, but I definitely think they've put themselves in the frame for an awful lot of sales with this little beauty.
Volkswagen are very keen to point out that the Bora is neither the Golf or the Passat, that it has an identity all of its own. And in fact there will be a coupe version and an estate version of the Bora to come pretty soon. But no matter what those chaps at VW have to say, I reckon one glance at this car tells you instantly which family it belongs to. The Bora, however, is very different to those two. It's named after the strong winds that sweep along the Adriatic coast, and the Bora itself sweeps in with a fresh new look. Inside the cabin there is plenty of space, both for the driver, the passenger, and surprisingly for the people that sit up the back. It has the same high quality feeling in here that you get in the new Golf and also in the Passat. Everything feels very solidly built and there are a few really well designed touches. I love the easy pump action on the chairs, they're very comfortable. I love the way things have been dampened. It's a really nice touch and something you'd often find on a far more expensive car. And I also like the round dials and the way they light up an luminous blue when you're driving at night. Plus, as you'd expect in a Volkswagen, even the entry-level model comes with a very impressive list of goodies. When the Bora goes on sale in the spring, there are 5 engines in the range for you to choose from. 3 petrol versions, a 1.6 entry level, a rather more sporting 2 litre, and if it's refined power that you're after, then this V5 with a 2.3 litre under the bonnet will be the one for you. And if diesels are your thing, then there are 2 for you to go at. There's a 90 brake horsepower TDI and the superb 110. Now, it's been very impressive under the bonnet of the Passat, and there's no reason why it won't be just as good in the Bora. Another great feature is ESP, or Electronic Stability Programme. Now, it's available as an option on all the models for a few £100, but comes as standard on this V5 version. Now, its intelligent system senses if a wheel is starting to lose grip, and what it does is start to apply the brakes before there's any possibility of you getting into trouble. A very handy gadget to have. There are also plenty of extras for you to choose from, like satellite navigation, which is one gadget that I reckon pretty soon most of us won't be able to do without. If you've ever wasted hours trying to find your destination, then I reckon that £2.5 spent on one of these gadgets to get a satellite to guide you there is actually money pretty well spent. The Bora is a wonderful blend of Volkswagen at its very best. It's a superb mixture of style, comfort, build quality and safety in an affordable package. It's the car that you never knew you needed, a car that bridges the gap between the hatchback and the saloon.
Coming up on next week's show, in preparation for Christmas, we sum up the year and bring you the best cars we've driven in the last 12 months. All that next week on Motor Week.